Hi there, I'm Clayton Barrows, and I'm here to give a quick overview of the packages that we've developed on the Scalable Integrated Infrastructure Planning Initiative at NREL. So all of our packages are on the NREL SIP GitHub organization. The main ones are here at the top: Power Systems, Power Simulations, and Power Simulations Dynamics. But I'm going to focus on one of the supporting packages to show off some examples and how to get started using some of these packages. If you're interested in what the capabilities included in these different packages are, please feel free to jump into each of them. There's documentation and the code is all open source, so you're free to explore as much as you like. The SIIPExamples package, however, is intended to give examples of common use cases in each of the packages and some of the extensions of them. So I will just quickly step through the initial requirements and then running some of the notebooks on your local computer. So the first requirement is installing Julia. The easiest way to do that is just to go to the julialang.org and click the download button and install the executable that makes the most sense for your operation. Once you have Julia installed, you can open a REPL. You can either do that by double-clicking the icon, or if you've added it to a path, you can open Julia from a command prompt. I'll just double-click the icon here, and once you have Julia open, you can enter the package manager by pushing the right square bracket. That's this button, and it enters the package manager, and you can tell by the prompt turning purple. You can exit that by pushing delete or backspace, and then but inside the package manager you can do add SIIPExamples, and that will go through and add all the packages and precompile the dependencies of the SIIPExamples packages. I've already done it here, so it's not going to do anything, but it takes 4 or 5 minutes depending on your system and your connections and everything. So it takes a little while to precompile everything. There's some pretty heavy solver packages that are part of the SIIPExamples dependencies. Once you have SIIPExamples precompiled and installed, you can exit out of the package manager to the normal Julia command prompt, and then do using SIIPExamples, and it will load the SIIPExamples package. And then inside there we have 3 categories of examples highlighted here at the top level of this outline here. 4 categories, sorry. So there's an introduction example, power systems examples, power simulations examples, and power simulations dynamics examples. And we're going to use those categories to launch different folders or different notebooks with different root folders to each one, and that will establish the workflow. So to do that, we can do notebook, and for this example I'll use the Julia examples, which is the introduction examples, and then I'll just launch that based on some random location. In this case I'll just use downloads. And so what will happen here in the back end is the SIIPExamples package will compile some Julia code into a IPython notebook, and then launch a notebook server so that you can then explore those examples in the notebook server. So this just takes a second because it's compiling that Julia code, and then it launches that server, and now my Julia code, or now my notebook, exists in the location that I defined, so that it's not in a read-only directory or anything, and I can go run this particular example, which is just an introduction to Julia. And I won't actually step through it or anything here, but and similarly, once you're here, you can hit Control-C to exit that process. We could also do let's do power systems. Oh, sorry, it's abbreviated with PSY. And then power simulations is PSI examples. And this is in the documentation as well. So in Power Systems examples, we can go through and we could explore the different notebooks for the Power Systems examples. Similarly, with Power Simulations examples, do the same thing. And each of these goes through and activates the environment that the SIIPExamples environment that it's dependent on. So these aren't dependent on SIIPExamples itself, but they are dependent on the some of the packages in SIIPExamples. Alternatively, if you don't want to download and install Julia, there is an option to run these examples on a binder instance, which is a remote server. This sometimes takes a while depending on how recently somebody has clicked on this binder link and it's compiled the code in the back end. And then finally, the final option here is that you can just view the notebooks that are linked in the outline here as well. So you can take a look at the different examples that exist there. With that, I will conclude this quick demonstration of how to run SIIPExamples, and please feel free to reach out on our Slack channel, which is linked at the top of each of our packages, as well as reaching out to me directly via my email or through GitHub. Thank you.